Right. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you guys see me?
Hi everyone.
Okay, let me. All right, let me see. Can I see my face in the stream? Hey, in the chat, can you hear us? Say hi in the chat if you can hear us. Say hi. Let me see. We should see my face now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think everything is fine. All right, yeah, we are live. Yeah, very sorry about this. We had a little technical glitch. Live stream are always so terrible. You think you prepare everything, and at the last moment, it doesn't work. So yeah, first of all, I'm just super glad to see you guys. It's been a long time. I haven't done a video on the channel, so it's super cool. And so today, we're gonna do a special live stream to teach you how you can become a smart contract auditor in 2022. So why this is super important to learn this. Actually, in terms of job opportunities, the developers in Web3 that are paid the most, they are the smart contract auditor, and that's pretty easy to understand because there is a huge demand for this kind of skill, and it's also difficult to acquire that kind of skill. So there are there aren't a lot of developers who can do this. So as a result, if you want to be really in demand and to really have the absolute highest salary in the industry, and what I mean high, I mean it can go up to $500,000 per year, so it's absolutely insane. You should absolutely get into smart contract audit, and it's also very interesting because you are always analyzing contracts and trying to find what is wrong with them. And even if you don't end up doing smart contract audit, you can still very good for your career as a Web3 developer if you know security very well. So with me today, we have a smart contract auditor that are going to give you some tip. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you Arturo, a smart contract auditor. So let me find you, Arturo. I'm going to pin your face. Let me show. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, Arturo. So now it's your turn.
Hi guys, how are you? My name is Arturo Beccar, and I'm part of the auditing team here at Coinfabrik. We are a partner company with EatTheBlocks, and we specialize, among other things, in smart contract auditing. Throughout the last years, we have performed more than 100 audits, and we do audits in different types of blockchains, from Polygon to Ethereum to Solana. And when we talked with Julien, we thought it was a great opportunity to give other people a good framework to know how to start doing smart contract audits. In this course, our goal is to give you a toolset and a framework. So on the one side, you will have the possibility to do a rather thorough overview of all the different vulnerabilities and enhancements that auditors look for when performing a smart contract audit. And you will also become acquainted with the main tools that different companies are using for automating their audits. From Slither to Solidity Coverage, these are tools that are widely available. The ones that we're reviewing in the course are open source. And I think that with this toolbox, you will have everything you need to start performing your first audits. So even though this course is self-contained, we recommend that you do the previous course on smart contract security, called Smart Contract Security 1. Sorry, can you hear me properly?
Yes, we can now. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so as I was mentioning, we recommend that you also take the first course, Smart Contract Security 101, in order to become acquainted with the vulnerabilities that auditors usually look for when performing an audit. In this course, Smart Contract Security 201, you will have mostly an overview of how to perform an audit, what is the common template that different companies use, and what are the resources that you will need in order to do it. So yes, I think that we put a lot of effort into this course. Joining me are Ariel Weisbein, a senior smart contract auditor with us. He's a PhD in mathematics, and Aureliano Calvo, MS in computer science, also a senior smart auditor with us. Both of them are going to be answering questions at the end of the session, any questions that you have for them. In order to give an idea why smart contract auditing has become so relevant, I would like to give you a metaphor. So at the beginning of the 20th century, many great infrastructure projects took place, from building large bridges to the famous skyscrapers that they built in New York at the beginning of the 20th century. It became an absolute necessity to focus on civil engineering and best building practices. With all the different hacks that occurred during the last few years, going from Axe Infinity at the beginning of this year to the Nomad Bridge just a couple of weeks ago, it has also become a necessity to ensure the security of the contracts deployed on the blockchain. So sort of like a metaphor, you can think of smart contract security like the civil engineering of the blockchain.
Excuse me, Arturo. I just interrupt you quickly. If you could just try to move the mic closer to your mouth, because I think some people cannot hear clearly. Yeah, let's just try. Yeah, no problem.
Can you hear me now?
Let's see what they say in the chat. But yeah, let's try like this. Okay, I'll let you continue. Yeah.
Okay. So smart contract auditing has become a default component of any crypto project. It is necessary for the crypto project to not fall, just like a bridge is. I mean, just like you wouldn't like a bridge to fall in real life, you don't want a bridge to fall in crypto, like it happened with Nomad almost a month ago. So the importance of smart contract auditing has become more evident, and this is why they're paying such high salaries, because it's a very hard job, and it's a job that you can't simply delegate to one particular audit, but it is becoming more apparent that several audits are necessary in order to ensure that your project is safe. This is why the job market for smart contract auditors is growing so much. Yeah. I'm not sure, Julian, if you have any other questions, or if you want me to talk a little bit about the job market for smart contract security.
Yeah, please let us know. Yeah.
Okay, so during the course we will mention different companies, like the main companies which perform the audits. In general, the outlook for the job market is divided between working for an auditing company, like it can be Open Zeppelin, Consensus, or Coinfabrik, or doing your own freelance audits. Whichever the case, we recommend that you start, well, first by taking this course, but also by trying to perform your own audits and building a portfolio of projects which you have audited. You can look for public audits online, which were performed by different companies like our own, or you can even look for bug bounties, which actually pay a reasonable amount of money as a way to start building your own projects. Independently of that, it is important to do networking, to look for events in your area where you can meet other people from security, and in general, having a background in security in general, not just smart contracts, but in the broader security world, is something that auditing companies look for when hiring new people. In fact, Aure, who is with us today, he comes from a security background outside from the smart contract world. So that is something that if you have a background in security outside of smart contracts, it will be something that is going to be very useful and very appreciated by companies who will hire you. Yeah. Okay. So yes, with the course you're going to learn how to make your first audit. Learning about vulnerabilities it's an art of itself. It's something that you will have to practice, but we'll give you a lot of materials and a lot of references for you to start and to learn more. In particular, I want to mention something offered by OpenZeppelin, which is Ethernaut, which is a pretty good way to start learning about vulnerabilities and which are the sort of issues that a smart contract auditor looks for in an audit. Okay. Let me recap to see what other points can we go over. Okay, though. So something that we wanted to talk about is giving you some sort of a roadmap for becoming a smart contract auditor. So as I mentioned, well, taking this course, I would first take the course in Smart Contract Security 101 and then Smart Contract Security 201. It's a good way to have a general view of the work performed by a smart contract auditor. But in order to get a job as a smart contract auditor, you will need to have a solid background in computer science and know how to program well. You can start looking for bounties without having this background, but if you want to get a job at a company, that is something that they will look for. Second, general knowledge of security, knowing about risk conditions in general, and injections, phishing, client side. This is something that is becoming more important as time goes on, and in fact, many of the hacks that are taking place right now are actually independent of the smart contracts themselves, but are happening because of phishing that happens outside of the smart contract world. And as well, having a proficiency in English, being able to write a report is something that is a must in order to work as a smart contract auditor. Okay. So I hope that gave you sort of a background on how to start your journey as a smart contract auditor. I'm not sure, Julien, if you have any particular questions or some particular topic that you would like to talk about.
Yes, thank you, Arturo. Yeah, that was very good. Yeah, let me show my face. All right, so now, guys, I'd like to introduce you our new course on Smart Contract Security. It's Smart Contract Security 201. So this is specifically to learn how to create smart contract audit. So is really something very unique. Usually it's very hard to do this. The only way normally is just to have an internship at a smart contract auditing company, but you will be able to get your foot in the door. So I'm gonna share my screen and show you how it looks like and give you the link. So just 1 second, guys. Let me share my screen right here. Okay, so here is the course Smart Contract Security 201. And here let's see the curriculum. So yeah, first you'll have an introduction to audit with a review of the some smart contract security vulnerability, then how to do a manual audit, then you're going to learn what are the main automated analysis tool, then you're going to learn about gas optimization, then you're going to do a review of some public audit, then you're going to see in detail what are the different stages of a professional audit, and finally you're going to do a final project where you're going to do your own audit. So that is very complete. So I'm going to give you the link in the chat. Just 1 second. Course here. Okay, so here, yeah, I pinned the message, so you should have a link to the course in the chat. So for the first week of this course, we're gonna make a special offer. So we have 2 courses on security, smart contract, 101 and 201. So 101 is the prerequisite to this second course that we're doing. In 101, you're gonna learn the different security vulnerability, but it does not include the smart contract audit. So we do have a special deal. You can buy the 2 courses for a discount. So for that, you go on the checkout page for smart contract security 201, and then there is an add-on, and so you're gonna add 101, the other course, at a discount. So yeah, so that is for the first week, and so now we're gonna move on to the Q&A. So please tell us all your question in the chat, and we're gonna answer you. Yeah, so what are your questions? Any questions? So some people say the link is not working. That's strange. It's working on my side. Why is that? I don't know. Do you have any question about the course?
I have one question.
Yes. Sure.
So, do I need to catch every vulnerability when I do an audit?
Sorry?
Try to catch.
So the question is if an auditor must find every possible vulnerability in a smart contract when he's doing an audit.
Yes, of course. You need to try to find as many vulnerabilities as you can, but as you will see the disclaimer of your audit, it is possible for you to miss a vulnerability. This is why it is so important to have different audits performed on the same project. And this is why the market for smart contract auditors is growing so much, because you can't rely just on one auditor to perform the audit, but you need multiple auditors to be working simultaneously, because maybe one of them may detect something different from what you have discovered in your own.
Okay, thank you. So I think we have some question now. So will this new course be part of the course bundle? So the course bundle is optional. First you go on the checkout page of this course, and then you can add the first one if you want. This is optional. Then prerequisites. So prerequisite, you need to define you need to just know smart contract security 101, which goes through all the main security hack, the main security vulnerability, sorry. All right.
Yes, in that regard, I would recommend you being able to compile a project with hard hat and knowing how to use the command line in order to use Slither and solidity coverage are a must.
Okay, good to know. Right, let me see the rest of the question. What is the best way to practice smart contract development? Well, this is a vast question, but yeah, you need to build project. Luis Nunez, how long is the course? So yeah, I'll let Arturo answer this one.
Yes, okay, so the course has so let me go over the different questions. You will probably be able to do it in about a week, I think. In the last section, doing the final audit will take you more, but you should be able to do the whole course in about a week. The way we organized it is by you will have Q&A at the end of each section, exercises that I want you to perform, and also you have the solution to the exercises. So, if you take your time to do all the exercises yourself, of course it's going to take you a bit longer, but having the solutions of the exercises, you can regulate that yourself, of course.
Okay, thank you. Let's see the other questions we have. Gregory, did I hear Arturo say that we need a PhD? Ha ha ha. Fortunately not. Then, okay, well, let me see. Say, Kamal, say you're part of the mentorship. You will update and show up with the other course. Yeah, for those who take the mentorship program, you will have access to it. Felix, can you describe the course? Does it take me from A to Z? So basically, the course is going to teach you how to create a smart contract audit from A to Z, and at the end, the final project will be to do a smart contract audit. Maybe Arturo can complete this.
Yes, so the course is actually self-contained. If you have some basic knowledge of vulnerabilities, you can take the course by itself. But we do recommend you to take Smart Contract 101 in order to have a broader sense of it. So the idea throughout the course is that you learn how to do manual audits, how to use automated tools for your audits, having then doing a review of how different companies do their audits and what are the main chapters that they cover during their audits. And also we have a section which is called Stages of a Professional Audit, where we dig into the different the different interactions that you may have with the client and with developers, and how to organize yourself doing that part. In that regard, for example, something really important is knowing how to do time estimation. How long is your audit going to take? And for that, maybe Aure can talk a little bit about that, because we have developed a tool that we use in order to gauge how much time it takes us to perform an audit. So yes, basically, this is, being able to detect vulnerabilities, it's an art on itself, but this course is going to give you the structure to be able to perform the audit, and the exercises that we put through the course are built in such a way for you to be able to perform your first audit at the end. Yeah. I'm not sure, Aure, if you want to mention a little bit about time estimation, what it is, and why it's so important when performing your audit and delivering it to a client.
Yeah, sure. When we do security audits for smart contracts, one thing we allocate some time to do the specific audit, and we need to strictly define a scope of the audit. This means which files will be audited. Each file will have a specific content that cannot be changed. So we are doing an audit essentially on a Git commit. And in order to estimate how long it will take, we developed a tool that is called estimate-sol, that it actually can be run on the code, and it will count the number of lines that has actual Solidity code in them, and we use that in order to estimate the number of weeks we need to do the audit, because it's not the same to do an audit of a 100-line contract that having 3,000 lines of code in order to do the audit. But it's not an exact science, so there's also some experience required in order to gauge this, but it's a really good tool to help us size the audits.
Great. I wanted to point that out because, separately from your ability to find vulnerabilities, being a smart contract auditor implies talking with developers and with at least having a sense that you're delivering a product to a client. So these are parts that you will find during the course, which I think are useful, whether you want to work for an auditing company or whether you want to become a freelance auditor yourself. You have to deliver an audit in a given time period, and we give you some of the best practices in order for you to be able to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your questions. I think I diverged a little bit, but
yeah,
please let me know.
That was a pretty nice answer. Thank you. So we have a lot of other questions. So Russ Moore is asking, if you work for an auditing company, do they tend to have restriction from employees doing bug bounties on the side?
Well, that will particular company. In our case, we do not do bug bounties on the side because we're doing audits all the time. But yes, that will depend on the particular company. I think it is a good way to start. But once you're working for a company, you're doing so much work that you will probably not have a lot of time for that. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Then Nick Canarero is asking, is auditing different from testing?
Right. I don't know if I would. Yes, I think I would.
Yeah, it's actually quite different. I mean, it has some things in common. That is that when you do testing and when you do audits, you're looking for code issues. But the auditing is different. And for starters, we take when we do audit, we do white box audit. So we actually look at the code. When you do testing, you usually don't look at the code in order to do the tests. That's one thing. The other thing is that we focus specifically on some bugs that are security bugs. There are lots of bugs that we don't. If we see them, we will report them, but it's not our main objective to catch those. So it's a different thing. Also, we expect the code to be audited to already have been tested and be running and have at least the happy path working. So I consider testing as something that you do before the audit.
Okay.
Yes, if I may.
Oh, yes, sure.
I would add something that when testing, you are looking for problems that happen in everyday use or standard bugs that could be triggered by normal use. But when you're doing security testing, you're looking for a very border case that someone could take privilege and use that to get some money or do something of that sort. So two very different outcomes. You're probably not going to detect security bugs by including standard tests.
Yes. During the course, we do go over solidity coverage, which is a tool for measuring what is the coverage that tests provided by developers offer. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I would recommend you to dig into that. But yes, as they mentioned, as auditors, we don't perform tests. We receive, if any, tests given by the developers and take them into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Very good answer. So now let's see what we have next. Jim asks, can you become a smart contract auditor without any qualification? Are experience and portfolio enough to get you a job in the field? It means between bracket a paying job and not an internship.
Okay, that will depend on your company, and in particular, you can always do freelance work, and in that case, you will become self-employed. We do have very different backgrounds here at Coinfabrik. For example, I come from a risk management background, which is very different from Aure and Ariel. I think that being able to build your portfolio is the first part in order to do that, but you have to demonstrate a solid background in computer science in order to become a smart contract auditor, or at least a solid background in whatever language you're going to use and ability to be able to detect the bugs. Of course, you're going to be competing with people with PhDs and other degrees, but this is a growing market. So just as you have opportunities through bounties, there are also other opportunities that are coming up for freelance auditors and even within companies.
All right.
I'm not sure if Aure or Ariel, you want to add something up from your own experience, or if you agree, yes.
Everybody agree, I think.
Well, what I would say is that if you don't have a degree and you don't have previous experience in the industry, I mean, not just smart contracts, but also in computer security in general, then it of course will be more difficult. But it's I remember when I started in computer security about 15 years ago, and there were people who didn't study anything and just hacked into things and cracked programs, and some of those were great and had a job, and they were my colleagues, but it was far more difficult for one of those to get a job than for me that I had a computer science degree. But you can. So
Yeah.
I would say you're handicapped.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it depends on how ambitious you are. I mean, if you want to apply for a $500,000 job as a junior, well, maybe it's gonna be a little bit challenging. So yeah, it's like that different kind of smart contract auditor, different salary, etc. So just start at the bottom like everybody else and work your way up, and you can do it. So let's see other questions. So we have a THX like this ask, can smart contract sell NFTs? Yeah, but this is not about smart contract audit. Victor Ogbebo, does the course mock recent hack? How could we approach it? How can we mock recent hack? Wow, that seems complicated.
Okay. Well, we don't mock a particular recent hack. I think that if what you want to do is to replicate possible hacks, well, like an idea that comes to mind is look for public audits performed online. Try to look for simply look for the hacks and look for the original code in GitHub. Try to analyze the vulnerability explained within the article and taking a look at the code in GitHub. That would be a good way to start. But yes, during the course we focus more on how to perform an audit, the structure that you have to give it, and give you a more and of course many of the recent hacks, as I said at the beginning, sometimes they exceed the smart contract security aspect itself. Sometimes they have to do with access control that comes from outside the smart contract, like what happened with Axie Infinity. So this course is more for you to start doing audits. They're not going to. Well, we don't perform a particular audit on one of the largest hacks of this year. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Let's see next question. So, so John Kelvin is asking. I just joined this live, so I don't know much about what is covered, but I wanted to ask that if SWC registry is enough for starting auditing. So yeah, SWC registry is a website. Okay. Yeah. So okay, I'll let you answer that. Yeah.
Yes. So SWC registry is a website that lists the different types of vulnerabilities that you may encounter when performing an audit. I would recommend you to take a look at SWC registry and also take a look at the Slither detectors. That's something that was very useful for me. Slither is an open source tool which helps you to find vulnerabilities automatically, and they list the detectors which the program uses in order to detect the vulnerabilities. So I will take a look at that as well, and I will also take a look at Ethernaut provided by OpenZeppelin, which is an open course where you can start learning about different vulnerabilities. And of course, you can also take Security 101, which is a great start for learning about vulnerabilities.
All right, let's keep going. Next question, Eric. Besides Slither, there is another tool that is used. Is there another tool that is used in the course from Tub
Yes.
or others like Consensus? Yeah.
Okay, so during the course we use Slither, we use Solidity Coverage, and we use Solidity Visual Developer Tool. We also mention other tools like Mithril and Mythex, which are paid, I think. Yes, so we go over the open source ones, but also mention other tools which are used by other companies, right?
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
You will be able to find these tools under the section automated tools.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Then Alten is asking, with the security course, does it allow you the knowledge to capture? You mean can we capture every security vulnerability in a smart contract? Okay, yeah, good question.
Good. So this is this is related to what Ariel asked at the beginning of the Q&A. Well, of course, this is not an exact science. Having the tools, the automated tools, and having a basic knowledge of vulnerabilities will help you catch most of the vulnerabilities that you encounter. But always, I mean, as the language, as the smart contract languages evolve, new vulnerabilities arise. I'm not sure, Aure, if you had anything to mention about. Let me take a look, because this is something that we had talked about. Something to mention about flash loans, for instance. But yes, my answer to you would be, as the language evolves, new vulnerabilities arise. For example, we had the merge just a few weeks ago. We don't know what new things may come up from that. But having this course will give you at least a solid background to be able to read audits, to be able to perform your own, and to know where to go if you want to learn more about a particular type of vulnerability. Okay.
Well, Ariel mentioned it in the beginning of the stream. We cannot find all the vulnerabilities. Actually, it's not even defined, and as time passes, new kinds of vulnerabilities are being discovered as hackers just make new ways of exploiting things. So what we do is look for the vulnerabilities that we know about, and we find those, and even those, it's not possible to find them. I mean, to be completely certain that there is no vulnerability. That's if you have a security assessment that says this has no vulnerabilities, they are lying. It's not how it works. How it works is that we look for the vulnerabilities that we find are there. We do a best effort to find them, but it's not possible to certify in general that there are no vulnerabilities. I mean that not even in smart contracts by themselves, but in computer security in general, this kind of audit will not give a 100% warranty that there is no vulnerability at all. That's not how it works.
All right. Yeah, very interesting question.
You can think of it like the COVID vaccine. You can only cover against the last strain, but you don't know what the new strain is going to be. There's always something new that is going to come up.
Yes, exactly. Perfection is not possible.
And that's why the more people are getting a job in smart contract auditing, because I mean, we try to think of hacks ourselves while performing the audit, but other people will also try to do it from a malicious standpoint. So that's why auditors are needed.
Yes, indeed. We find new bugs all the time. So Luis Nunes saying, if I use truffle, do I still need hot? Well, I think I can understand that. Answer that. Yeah, I mean it's one or the other, but nowadays most projects use a hot. So yeah, I would recommend you to know both, really.
Yes, I give you a small introduction into hard. It will not take you more than 15 minutes to go over it, just to compile a project and to add a couple of plugins. So yes, I would consider it, and it will not take you that long. It is covered, I think, in the automated tools section or in the manual audit section. I just can't recall. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but we do go over how to do it. So don't worry.
Okay, great. Then Jim S is asking how much is the mentorship. So I think, Jim, you're referring to our Web3 mentorship program. So it depends on we have different options, and if you're interested, apply on our website. We have a form for that. Tilipan Lankumaran is asking, is analyst a good role in blockchain? Does he have a good salary than developer? Okay, so not really related to security, but analyst can mean a lot of things, so it's really difficult to answer you. But in general, like in blockchain, the technical role are the one with the highest demand. Nick Canajero, do you need to code when doing smart contract audit? Good question.
Okay, not necessarily. You can replicate some parts of the code yourself. Actually, if you want to make sure that an attack is possible, you may try to develop a smart contract that attacks the code if it is already deployed. But I think I would like Aure or Ariel to answer these questions. They have more expertise. Do you perform any coding when auditing yourself?
Well, in general we don't, but sometimes we do. Sometimes we do tests that exercise the vulnerabilities that we find, or we code some proof of concept of a mitigation in order to be sure that what we are reporting is what it's real, because sometimes the issues are complicated and we need to try them ourselves in order to know if they are actually a problem or not.
Okay, thank you.
During the course, in order to perform some attacks, I do write some code.
Yeah, but even if you don't write a lot of code, you need to be able to write some code. I mean, you cannot do smart contract audit if you are a non-coder, for example.
No. Yes. In general, though, during the course, for example, when using Remix, I go step by step, so you would be able to do it along with me. But yes, that is a must. That if you want to get a job doing smart contract audits, you need to be able to write code and to understand it well. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Next, Kiran is asking, how long does it take to audit a smart contract on average?
Right. We usually audit smart. Well, it will depend on the size. In that sense, I would recommend you to take a look at the tool mentioned by Aure. But yes, smart contract audits can range from 1 to 2 weeks. It will depend on the size of the project. Yeah.
Okay. Then Idu is asking, how can you become auditor? I am just studying computer science at my university. In my second year, I have basic understanding of Solidity. Okay, so it's what we mentioned before in this stream, but maybe Arturo, maybe you can
Sure.
make a summary.
Yes, I would take smart contract security 101 and 201. Then you will really understand what an audit is. You will be able to read audits and you will understand what are the main companies. Then maybe you can start doing, for example, Ethernaut, and you can doing Ethernaut, trying to look for public audits online, looking for bounties and bugs that actually pay you online. That's a great place to start. And if you're doing computer science, well, try to apply for a summer job during your vacation, maybe. That would be my recommendation. In my case, for example, I got this job because I took a blockchain course at university and I met our boss. So usually try to meet other guys in college who are interested in these sort of things. That sort of networking is going to help you down the line a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, very good advice here. Thank you. Then next question, Kiran. So, what was the longest time you spent auditing a contract, and why did it take you so long?
Okay. I don't know, guys, if you want to talk about one of the large contracts you had, Aure or Ariel.
Well, in general, the size
I
of the
think we
audit
have a few.
is...
Go ahead, Paul.
No, go, you go.
I was saying that we did a few audits that took us 2 months or nearly 2 months. Arturo was saying that depends on the size of the smart contracts and the complexity of the project. Usually, you want to structure an audit into parts, and these parts should not be very long. But some projects are complex and they need that kind of audits.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Something that I wanted to mention is that, well, you will see during the course this part, but performing an audit involves receiving the code, giving an initial report to developers for them to make changes, and then receiving that code back. Well, there you have some interaction with developers, which can make the time period of the whole audit longer. If they take a lot of time in order to give you the code, maybe you're waiting for the audit to start a lot of time. Or if they take a lot of time in order to do the initial changes after your initial report, that can also make the audit longer. So yes, having a good so it is important for you for your team to be organized. Maybe it may happen that you will have to juggle another audit in between because of these gaps of time that happen. That is specific to every team and every company, how they organize themselves.
Okay, thank you. Then next question: how much does a smart contract audit service cost?
Okay, that is something that exceeds, I think, sorry, I'm not sure if Aure or you have any comments on that, but that is more of a commercial aspect of the audit that I wouldn't like to talk, at least as a representative of Coinfabrik during the audit.
Yeah.
I would recommend you to take a look at the bounties, and there you will have a sense of how much money is in all of this, and of course the salaries that are being paid for smart contract auditors speak for themselves, of course.
Yeah.
But yes, every company is competing with each other in order to make a business out of this. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a little bit dedicated to answer precisely here as a smart contract auditor, but I can just like give like a ballpark figure, like famous company in the audit space, they can charge tens of thousands of dollars for an audit, or sometimes even more. So yeah, it's like a project of a certain size. Then John Freddy Rivera is asking, is it only for Solidity contracts? So what we do in the course, yes, and actually most of the work for smart contract auditor is for Solidity. Is this correct?
Yes, most of the work is in Solidity. We also perform audits in Clarity, Rust, and well, projects that range from Polygon to Ethereum to other blockchains. But yes, most of the work is in Solidity, definitely. I mean, if you're about to start and you are not specific to any type of language, I would start with Solidity as well. But maybe if you are a developer and you already know a particular language, then maybe that's a good way to start, because maybe in other languages there's scarcity of auditors. We actually have a member of our team who actually joined the team because he knew about Clarity, and he helped us to perform audits there. Yes, sorry, Ariel.
No, I was going to say that the newer blockchains are putting a lot of effort into having people develop and do things with promote their networks. So it might be an opportunity there. There might be an opportunity there. So there's a lot of public contracts that you can audit. Some of those contracts have vulnerability reports, so you audit reports, so you can audit and then read the report to see if you catch the same vulnerabilities and start learning. Perhaps there's an opportunity there as well.
Okay, very interesting. The next question of Victor: would you suggest getting the security plus the OSCP certification, cybersecurity certification?
Sorry, Howard, do you know of that certification yourself? Could you spell it again? I wasn't able to.
Yeah. So it's called the OSCP certification in cybersecurity. I mean, I just vaguely know of the name OSCP, and I know they issue certification in cybersecurity. I mean, I would say it's good to have a background in cybersecurity. That always help. But if you just start a certification and no experience beyond that, then I think it's everybody will see that you are still a junior. So instead of that, I would just focus on smart contract audit and yeah. All right. Then next question. When should one look for an external smart contract auditing service? Okay.
Okay. When you're trying to, well, when you're actually about to deploy your contract and you intend other users and clients to participate in it and use it, that is when you should look for an audit before deployment, of course. Or, well, of course, if you already have a deployment and you intend to increase the amount of usage, that will be another point. But usually, just like you wouldn't allow a breach to be opened before having all the proper certifications, well, if you're going to start, if you got a project, you have done all the development, performing an audit before deploying it is usually best advised.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so
something good about the course, even if you're not going to become an auditor yourself, you will have a very good sense of what to look for in audits. So if you happen to hire a team of auditors, you will be able to understand the report, which is usually pretty technical, and well, being able to understanding is being able to perform the changes necessary in your project.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Then Kiran is asking, are there any standards you follow when auditing, or do you just follow your own internal process?
Okay, that will vary from company to company. In the section stages of an audit, we give you a general overview on how we perform this. But yes, I mean, whether you perform an only manual audit or if you could, or if you include automated analysis tools, will also affect that. But yes, in general, I would go into the section about stages of an audit. That's a good way. That's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then Sebastian is asking, hey guys, if I have access to all the course, do I have to buy this separately? No, it's already included. Stefan, will this recording be saved? Yes. W, say hi everybody. Smart Buddies is asking, what's the typical work week in hours?
Work week? Like how many hours we work?
Yes.
Well, in yes, full time generally. I don't know if Aure or Ariel, if you want to comment, how do you arrange your work week when performing audits? I mean, in general, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, what happens is that when you're doing an audit, you need to have a really clear mind. So we need to be really well rested in order to properly find the vulnerabilities. So we do all the work we can do,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for. I mean, it's a full-time job. But I mean, you're not going to be able to do the audit and then do more audits on the side and keep the quality of the audit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is true. So next question. Luis Nunez is asking, for the final audit, will you give us a specific project, or can we do a project of our own?
I give you a specific project for which I also provide at the end the vulnerabilities which we found, which maybe you find other ones, as we mentioned. People always find new problems in the projects. But I would recommend you that after taking a look at this final project, which we provide you, you go and look for other public audits performed and look for bounties and other things in order to keep going. And maybe if you like a particular project, maybe it's a good idea to try to analyze it yourself, and maybe you can talk to the people in that project and tell them if you find something useful. That's a good place to start.
Okay. Then Josh D saying, as a computer science major, this is so helpful. Thank you to everyone involved. Thank you. Very nice. Then Edu, how good is the smart contract auditor course? If I purchase and learn it, can I start working on bounties?
You can start looking at them for sure, and you will understand the what is expected, what are the types of vulnerabilities, are proper classification. Yes, that is something that you will have in mind. In particular about, for example, gas usage, which I believe that it wasn't mentioned in the first course about Security 101. We go a bit deeper into that. That is something that we also consider in our audits, which may not be necessarily a vulnerability. It can lead to problems that can be exploited, but gas usage is something which is also taken into account during audits, and that when looking for bounties, it is also taken into account, and you can play with that.
Okay. Then Udaiba Siad is asking, how much time should be given on a daily basis to become proficient for bug bounty?
Okay.
Guys,
if you want to recommend, well, I think that will vary. Try to start with the course first, and then try to give it a couple of hours every day. I don't know. It will vary a lot. I would say that it will take you about 6 months to be able to find more of the critical ones. At least those that are already publicly known. But knowing about, for example, some gas optimizations, that is something that maybe you can learn quicker. Yes. It completely depends on whether you're working or studying or not. That is something that, yes. I would actually take the course, and then you will be able to gauge yourself how long it will take, and you will also have the resources to dig deeper into the types of vulnerabilities. AWS Registry, as mentioned, is a very good source, but also, yes, using the tools and all of that, it will give you a good notion of the whole umbrella of topics involved.
Yes.
And also, you should pick your challenge. There's some bug bounties that pay $2 million, and there's a lot of people looking into those. And there's other challenges that are less difficult and pay less, and probably have less people looking into them. So you should pick your challenge.
Yes. All right. Next, is your smart contract course good enough to get a first job as an auditor? So that really depends how hardworking you are, what is your background, and what are you targeting. If you're targeting some job of junior, if you target right away a job as senior, it's more challenging. So there are really a lot of parameters to really answer your question accurately.
Yes. Sorry, I wanted to mention that Ariel has to leave for another meeting.
Sure.
But I will say if you have any other more questions, of course.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks a lot. It was super helpful. And so we are going to quickly go over the last questions. So yeah, if some of you have to leave, you can leave, no problem. So yeah, Codner is asking, how likely is it to find high severity bug worse over $100,000. Okay, so I'll answer that one. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to be like so specific. We cannot tell you, oh, like there's a 10% chance of finding a bug worth over 100,000. It's just that you just need to spend time in this, and sometime you're gonna find some bug that are worth a lot of money, sometime less money. So really, see, we cannot really quantify. But just what's important to know is that long term, your career, if you invest in smart contract audit and in security, that's a career that has a lot of future. So you're not wasting your time, and that's the most important thing to know. All right.
And it is also something that will add to your work as a developer if you happen to choose that other side of the job market. Like you will become acquainted with the best practices that you have to follow in order to avoid vulnerability. So I would really recommend the course in order to open your mind about these other job opportunities.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So let's do 2 other questions, and after we're gonna stop, because I know you guys also have some. Wow, we still have a lot of other questions. Okay, let's see if I can answer some of them. Any more information on flash loan hacks? I'm not sure we talk about this in the course. No.
We took over it. I don't know, Aure, if you have anything in your mind about flash loans that you want to comment. I think I said something, but
yeah, there are 2 different aspects about flash loans hacks. One thing is, can I hack on the contract that makes the flash loan? That's one aspect, and that's a standard vulnerability on a contract. But there is a different aspect of flash loans, that flash loans a lot of times enable hacks, because you can do hacks that require a lot of capital without capital. Because flash loans have the amazing property that you don't need a collateral, because the flash loan is taken and paid in the same transaction. So essentially, anyone can use a lot of tokens in order to hack you if the hack runs in a single transaction. And that's a part of this is where one of the situations where this smart contract thing is different from meat space. That you don't need in order to get let's say you want to do something similar in real life with finance and dollars, then you would need to have a collateral for a loan.
Exactly, or take a repo.
Yeah, but in when you're doing crypto, you don't need that for a lot of things, and that includes some hacks.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for that. Next question. Let me see in the chat. So, Edu, who is asking, how do you work as a team with other auditors? I know this sounds dumb, but what happens if you fail to catch a vulnerability? Is this very common?
Okay, so usually at the end of your audit, we publish it in a Slack team that we have, so other auditors can take a look at our report and actually do like an overview to see if they find something else. So we have that double check. And in general, yes, and sometimes, but not usually, more than one auditor may be involved in the project if it's too large. So that's a good way to have another eye during the project.
Okay.
But yes, as we mentioned, part of the audit is, okay, like when someone hires a group of auditors, they're also hiring them because they know that they have a background, they have many audits behind them that show that those projects took advantage of those audits in order to improve. So that sort of background is also considered. Yes, in general, having like working in team, at least having someone to tell him, hey, I have finished this story. Can you take an overall look at the report at least? That's a good way to have a check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in general, I would say how we work when there are different aspects of working with other people. Sometimes we are assigned to the same project and then we divide the work and cross validate the findings. And also when we do a report in Coinfabrik, other auditors look at our report and suggest things. That's part of our standard procedure. That will be the two main ways we work with other auditors.
Okay, thank you. Then let me see this question. So after this, we'll be able to find bounties. Yes, we already talked about this before, so we're gonna keep going. Next,
minor issues and medium ones, of course. I think, and something that you can do is go. Like we don't endorse any particular web page for bounties, but look for bounty pages, smart contract bounties in Google, and go to those pages and look for bounties that have already been discovered, and that way you will realize that you understand what is going on, and then you can start looking for that sort of issue in the new ones.
Yeah, very good tip. Next question. How do you envision smart contract security will evolve in the future? Like to a point, we'll be able to tell if a transaction is malicious or not even before it happens? Wow.
Okay. Well, like
can I
first
one?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. What I envision is that hacks will get more and more complicated as they did in general computer. We will also find best practices to mitigate and suppress most of the bugs that we find now, and we will find new ones based on this extra complexity. That's what happened with web security, that's what happened with network security, so I expect the smart contract security to follow a similar path.
Yes. Then next question. So Nick Canarero is asking, have you done any smart contract audit other than crypto related? I don't know what you mean by crypto related. I mean, all the smart contract are blockchain applications, so they are all crypto. Yeah.
Yes, our has worked in security outside of the smart contract world. If that was your question, yeah.
Okay. Then Gustavos, do you know how to make a VR metaverse? Okay, this is unrelated. Code Nerd, interesting question. Do you think auditor salaries will decrease as time goes on?
It's a good question. Let's hope not.
I think there will be more specific roles in general in the industry. So some things will get paid better and some other things will get paid worse, because what happens is that as we are in a very young discipline, so there are lots of things that we don't know, and also there are lots of practice that have not evolved yet but will. And so if we take a long stance, let's say in 20 years things will be different. I mean, if we look at general security and we see the last 20 years, the general computer security, and we see the last 20 years, I would say that there's both more and less money than 20 years ago. So I expect things to be similar, to have some things that are really paid really well and more specialization. And some are things that will be really common and will be grunt work.
Yes.
like something that may happen is for minor findings, automated tools will start to become more like using automated tools to detect minor findings will become probably as default. So I think that yes, of course, it will become like, and going back to what Aures said before, as the complexity of the hacks increase, there will be a lot of money for them, and you will have to become more knowledgeable about that. I think that right now we are at a point where someone can start becoming an auditor and start looking for smaller sort of bugs, but the idea of automated tools is to take care of all those smaller ones.
Also, you can think of that as an opportunity. That's what happened. I mean, I feel like an old guy saying this, but that's what happened in computer security. When 15, 20 years ago, people started doing exploits were far simpler, but also there was less to gain. So there was less money involved in total, less people involved, and I think that similar trajectory is happening with smart contracts, where things are simpler, so you can learn, and actually if you learn now, in a few years you will have the tools to learn the new thing, and the people who in 5 years want to start from scratch will have a far steeper curve.
Yes, this seems like a good moment to get into smart contract security auditing.
Yes.
There's still small fish to fish.
Yes, now is a good time. Al10 is asking, will I be a certified white hat hacker after I'm done with the course? No, you won't be. It's not to become a hacker, it's to protect against hacker. Then next question, suppose you find a bug on an actual project, how are they going to give you the reward if they cannot edit or change the smart contract? How do that work? Well, that depends on the situation, but I believe that in most cases you audit a contract before it's launched. So basically, if they pay you to do the audits, then basically you're paid for the audit. Then what they can do also is bug bounty. So here you'll be paid depending on the severity of what you find, and I also think that you can also find security vulnerability of projects that are already deployed, and so in that case you tell them privately that there is this issue, and so in some cases they can block the contract if there is some sort of mechanism in place to freeze the contract. Sometimes that happen, sometimes it happen, and what they do actually to fix the problem if they cannot update the contract is they create another one, and so they migrate all the liquidity, for example, from contract A to contract B, but it's quite a complicated process. Do you guys have anything to add?
Yes, something that also happens is right now you can do an upgradable contract with a proxy pattern, so maybe a part of the contract can be updated later on, and you can perform an audit and then change it. So that will be another idea that I have in mind. Yeah. I don't know, Aure, do you have any other idea for this?
Yeah, while contracts in Solidity are immutable, that's not true for all blockchains, and also in general, because we know that contracts can have bugs, a lot of them have mechanisms in them in order to either stop them or upgrade them. And that's one of the things that is not that intuitive. That our intuition would be, okay, let's make this thing not changeable and that's more secure, but that's not always the case. Sometimes we would prefer to have some authority that can either change the code or stop the thing and take ownership of the assets that it controls and give them back. And that's a trade-off of centralization. And one thing I wanted to say is that being less centralized is not always good, also not always bad. So it's far more nuanced in that sense. And we actually analyze that when we do audits, and we say this contract can or cannot be operated like this. These addresses can do these things. There's no way to go back to do that, and that's an important part of the audit, besides the actual vulnerabilities being found.
Okay, thank you. Then Yashwant really asked, how do I get into Trail of Bits? Where, well, you can start by taking our course. Jack Ara to do companies ask the blockchain developer to perform auditing, even if they don't specialize in it, to cut down on cost.
Well, I mean, it is a good practice to try to run some of the automated tools, of course. I mean, and of course, as we mentioned first, doing proper testing, like, I think it would be a good thing to have a general knowledge of the vulnerabilities and how to avoid them, in order to avoid having to perform maybe even multiple audits. So yes, in general, knowing more about the basic principles to avoid vulnerabilities, about what tools can you take, it is something that I would recommend for anyone to do. For example, running some basic tools would not take you a lot of time. It's a good practice.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going through the chat here, and I don't think we have any remaining question left. So we are going to stop here. So just before we finish, as a reminder, so we just launched our new course, Smart Contract Security 201. So this is on smart contract audit. It will teach you how to do a smart contract audit from A to Z. So I just put the link in the chat. We'll also have the link in the video description. And we also offer, for the first week after the launch of this course, there is a bundle, so you can buy this course and the previous one, Security 101, which is a prerequisite. You can buy it at a discount. Everything is on the checkout page of Security 201. And also, yeah, thanks a lot for coming, Arturo and Ore. That was very nice of you. And yeah, I mean, your answers were really, really good, and people were super happy in the chat. So yeah, this is awesome. All right, so everybody, thanks for coming today, and we'll see each other next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
All right. So let me finish the stream and stream. All right.